Here is the quickest, easiest and most reliable way that I know to become a strong and respected leader who keeps themselves in shape and doesn't burn themselves out. I've done this for myself over the past 5 years, and I've helped 98 leaders inside Lead from the Front do exactly the same. So let's get stuck straight into it. To be a great leader, it's actually very simple. You need to help others perform, grow and develop in whatever role and capacity they're in, and do it in a way that doesn't have a negative impact on you as the leader. And after helping 98 leaders inside Lead from the Front over the past 5 years and studying the results of over 600 Complete Leaders Audit completions, which is my free scorecard, and analysing the results, one theme jumps out very, very clear, is that most leaders, over 90% of leaders, score themselves higher when it comes to leading other people than they do leading themselves and looking after themselves, their own health, their own well-being and their own capacity. Which means you end up feeling chaotic daily and like you're an on-call firefighter. You end up running on empty as you haven't had a good night's sleep or done a proper workout to look after yourself in months. You can't switch off because you feel that you need to be available to your clients and team members 24/7. And all of this culminates in you feeling like you're faking it and that you're not showing up at your best as a leader because you don't feel good. It doesn't feel good right now. And in the back of your head, you're thinking, how am I supposed to lead all these other people when I can't even lead myself? That feeling of being a bit of a fraud can be all too familiar. Now, my job is to change that for you. So we're going to walk back to my home office now, and I'm going to outline the exact blueprint that I use with my clients and I've been through myself to create that sort of transformation so that you can become an effective, strong, respected leader that stays in shape, looks after themselves and doesn't burn themselves out in the process. Let's go. If you want to be a strong, respected leader that leads with impact and doesn't burn themselves out, that is what I would class leading from the front. That's the phrase I'm going to use that describes that outcome. So if you want to do that, there are 3 different areas you need to master in order to make that happen. The first area is personal leadership, and this is all around leading yourself. The next one is health and fitness, because if without your health, without your fitness, without your well-being, you can't do it consistently. And lastly is public leadership. You do actually need to have the skills in order to lead others, get the best out of them, help them grow and help them develop. So I'm going to share with you exactly what each one does in more detail and how you would actually make that happen and how we do this inside Lead from the Front. So if we take this first area of personal leadership, well, when it's not done right, you can feel like you're having daily chaos. Every single day can feel like you're putting out fires. It feels all over the place and like your day owns you rather than you owning your day. And when it's done right, you do own your day. That is the goal. You feel in control, you know what's happening, you know why it's happening. That is the end goal. And if you feel in control of your day and that you're owning your day, that is when you will have mastered your personal leadership. Now, in order to make that happen, there are 3 key areas that you need to master in order to do it. The first one is planning like a pro. You need to be able to plan. You need to be able to plan on a longer term basis. You need to be able to set goals for yourself, set a vision for yourself. You also need to plan on a daily basis, on a more, what am I doing this hour? What am I doing this day? What am I doing this week? You need to be able to plan like a pro in order to do that. The next one is boundaries that stick. You need to be able to set boundaries in your life with both yourself and other people in order to not burn out and actually stay in control of your day. Because without boundaries, everyone else's agenda becomes more important and you will get pulled in every direction and away from the goals that you have set for yourself. And the last one is upgrading your thinking. You actually need to change your mindset from a fixed mindset to more of a growth mindset that actually brings you up rather than tears you down and is self-deprecating. And there are a load of different ways that we do that, say inside Lead from the Front, But when you have done those things, you actively train your thinking, just like you would train your muscles in the gym, but you actually set boundaries for yourself and stick to them, and you plan like a pro. That is when you're going to stop having daily chaos and finally feel that you own your day. The next area is around health and fitness. And when you don't do this, when you don't look after yourself, and this is so common with leaders, it will feel like you are running on empty. But when you get it right, you are going to feel fit to lead. You're actually going to have the energy to show up for yourself, show up for others, and be the best version of yourself. So in order to stop running on empty and actually be fit to lead, you need to focus on 3 key areas. We need to focus on high impact training. We actually need to go and train in the gym. We need to get ourselves in great shape. We need to lose weight if we are holding excessive body fat. We need to work on our cardio fitness. We need to work on our health. And this is done through having training that is actually high impact and is getting you results. We also need to implement smart nutrition. Okay, we need to fuel our bodies so that we have consistent energy, we have consistent health, that we're looking after our health. And that is done through eating great foods, quality nutrition, and doing that consistently, but also doing it in a smart way that doesn't make us hate life in the process. And lastly, we need recovery rituals. So many leaders are under-recovered and they overwork. They overwork to prove themselves. They overwork because they feel that they need to be present 24/7 in order to be an effective leader, when in reality it does the opposite. And they are often under-recovered. So this includes effective sleep, actually just having time away from work, having buffer time between meetings so you're not like to the wire and stressed out on everything. And when you do all of these 3 things, that's when you stop running on empty and you finally become fit to lead. And the last key area of being a great leader is public leadership. When you get this wrong, you can often feel like you're faking it, like a bit of a fraud, like you have this title, but you're not actually living it. And that someday people are going to find you out to be a fraud. That's when you get it wrong. But when you get it right, you will lead with impact. And what I mean by that is that you are actually going to lead and get great results with people. You're going to help other people perform in their role. You're going to help your clients perform. You're going to help team members perform, but you're also going to help them grow and develop into strong, effective, high performers and leaders themselves. Now, in order to do that well, you need to have 3 things. You need to, first of all, have clear communication. If you cannot communicate clearly with people and you leave conversations feeling unsure, unclear, the other person doesn't have a clue what's gone on, then you are not communicating clearly. And the way that you would know that you've communicated clearly is that both you and them have left a conversation feeling explicitly clear on the right next steps. When you've done that and there is no ambiguity, no reading between the lines, that is when you have communicated clearly. So that is the first one. The next one is trusted relationships. You need to be able to nurture relationships with the people that you are leading, whether that's team members or clients. This doesn't mean you need to be their best friend, but it does mean you need to care about them as humans. You need to treat them as humans first, and then whatever they are second. Colleague, client, team member, do that second. If you have a genuine human approach first of all, and you can deliver messages in a way that allows the relationship to grow and be nurtured over time, that is going to make you an incredible leader, because people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that is the second one. You need to be able to do things and deliver messages in a way that's clear, but also builds the relationship over time. And lastly, you need to be able to empower other people through empowered leadership. Empowering other people means that when people come to you, you are actually taking the time to upskill and improve their skills and knowledge, autonomy, confidence themselves. because if they keep coming back to you and all you do is do the work for them, then that is not empowered leadership. You'll know you've done this right when you give people support, you give them frameworks, and they don't always need to come back to you to ask for permission or for ask you to check over things, because over time their skills will improve. And that's how you know that you are doing empowered leadership. So that is the whole system. And when you have mastered all those areas, you're going to be owning your day. You're going to be fit to lead and have actual energy, and you're able to lead others with impact. That is when you are leading from the front. And that is when you are a strong, respected leader and you don't burn yourself out in the process. Now, if that makes sense to you and you're looking at that thinking, okay, that makes sense in principle, but you're still not doing it, then there are likely two key things that are stopping you from doing that. And I'm going to outline them for you now. So the first one is a skill issue. Now, a skill issue refers to you not having the actual skills of how do I do that? How do I actually go and build relationships with people? How do I communicate clearly? How do I plan like a pro? How do I change my mindset to something more constructive and positive? A skill issue refers to that. You actually don't have the skills. Now, the benefit is that these things are skills and they can be learnt. But it does take time, and you need to take a proactive approach so that your skills improve over time. Now, the second issue is a capacity issue. And a capacity issue refers to you might actually have the skills to do those things. You might have some skills or these skills, and you might be incredibly skilled at your craft. But the thing that is stopping you is that you literally don't have the mental or physical capacity to go and implement it. And if this is the case, no amount of trying to upskill and going on leadership courses around how to improve your difficult conversations or navigate conflict is going to help. Because if you have a capacity issue and you actually know how to do it, but you can't implement it, because in order to be an effective leader, you need to do what's called hold space for other people. You need to do that effectively where you don't make it about you. And if you have no mental capacity or physical capacity because you are running on empty, you feel daily chaos, you feel like you're faking it, you're doubting yourself, you have imposter syndrome, and your brain is absolutely fried and you're stressed out your nuts, you cannot hold space for people. You cannot make it about them because you are so wrapped up in your own issues and challenges and how you feel. That is all that consumes your brain. You know, when someone speaks to you and you're like, oh my God, I do not have the capacity to listen to this. I've got my own problems to deal with. That is exactly the feeling that I am describing when I say a capacity issue. So if you want to fix that, there are two things that you need to do. Number one is work on your personal leadership, which is number one, this first section of the Lead from the Front blueprint. You need to look at yourself. How are you leading yourself first? By doing these things. That is going to be the first thing of how you can improve your capacity. And the next one is around your health and fitness, which is the second component of the Lead from the Front blueprint, which is actually getting you fit to lead. And the way you do that is through actually working on your training, getting to the gym, doing workouts, looking after your fitness, eating well, and recovering. Those are the two fixes for a capacity issue. And that is what you need to prioritize first if that is your main issue. Now, I have a scorecard called the Complete Leaders Audit, and I've had, over the past 6 months, at the time of recording this video, over 600 Complete Leaders Audit completions. And guys, look, I am not making this up. The Complete Leaders Audit, 627 results, just hiding people's information. But this is from real people and real data. And the most common theme, over 90% of leaders rate lowest on personal leadership and health and fitness. Okay, they score themselves highest on this bottom area, public leadership. They feel fine leading others, or they feel okay leading others, but they know it could be improved, and they score lowest over here on personal leadership and health and fitness. Now, if that is the case, looking at these two issues, what is likely going to be the biggest fix for most leaders, especially taking this scorecard? It is not actually a skill issue that is going to improve it. Don't get me wrong, skills can always be improved. It's a never-ending journey. My skills can always be improved. That I'm not saying that skills don't need to be improved, but what I am saying is that if you really want to start feeling like a respected, effective leader and stop burning yourself out, it is actually a capacity issue. It is not a skill issue. So going on excessive courses to try and improve tactics within conversations and leadership things, if you are not leading yourself effectively and you're not looking after your own mental and physical capacity, that is going to be the biggest thing that you need to prioritize in order to fix that. If you're watching this, it's hitting the nail on the head and you're picking up what I'm putting down, I'm going to talk you through the best way to actually go about fixing that. I have designed a 6-week sprint called Fit to Lead in 6 weeks. I have used this with real people, real clients. I'll actually attach one of my clients, Phil, who joined on this very program and completely changed his life in 6 weeks. Absolutely incredible. If you want to watch this in action, go click that because this is not theory, this is real application and this is how it works. It actually works. I've also used this system with 98 leaders, inside lead from the front, over the past 5 years. So this is how you can change it. If you want to get fit to lead in 6 weeks, here is how to do that. You need to, first of all, stop putting out fires. That's probably how it feels at the moment. And instead, you need to own your day. There are 2 simple missions that you need to do in order to make that happen. That is design your week and plan your day. Very, very simple. And I have key frameworks of exactly how you can do that in 10 minutes or less. Super simple. That's the first thing. When you do those things, you're going to stop putting out fires and you're finally going to feel that you're owning your day. The next one is to stop running on empty. And instead, you're going to have the energy to lead, which is absolutely necessary so that you have the capacity to lead. The way that you're going to do that is through 2 things. You're going to train smart and you're going to upgrade your nutrition. It does not need to be a huge overhaul. This is very simple. You can actually do this in 6 weeks, and I've had life-changing results with people doing this in 6 weeks. Those are the 2 things you need to do in order to stop running on empty and have the energy to lead. The last one is that if you're struggling and you feel that you can't switch off and instead you want to have guilt-free rest, then there are 2 key things you need to do. You need to set boundaries and you need to fix your sleep. Wrong color there. You need to set boundaries and fix your sleep. When you do these 6 things in 6 weeks, that is literally 1 mission a week. That is the key to solving this big capacity issue. And you can do it very, very shortly. I have a whole system of exactly how you can do this in 6 weeks. And that is the best place to start if you are wanting to lead from the front and be a complete leader that leads yourself, that looks after your health and leads others with impact. That is the best place to start. And there we have it. Like I said at the start of this video, leadership is very, very simple. You need to help others perform, grow, develop within their role, whatever capacity they're in, and do it in a way that doesn't have a negative impact to yourself. And that system that I've outlined there is repeatable, it's proven. I've done it with 98 people inside lead from the front over the past 5 years, and you could be the next. So if you would like to get fit to lead in the next 6 weeks, drop me a message with the word lead over on Instagram. I have put the link down in the description of this video. Drop me a message on there. We'll talk through your goals and see if I can help.